43 years of practice, and this is Dr. Tom Rosell. Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Tom. I know we're having some technical difficulties, but I think that I'm supposed to rock and roll here, so you'll forgive the interruptions. It's kind of crazy. It's one of those days. I think the live stream feed is like the weather today. It's like, it's okay. It's there, but we'll have to work around it. So let me know if you hear me, and because I have the screen up and I can see your inputs, particularly those of you who have my text messages, you can let me know if you can hear the voice as well as see the vision, and then we can go from there. Having said that, we're talking about the feet and infections and things. But before that, I want to invite you this Wednesday evening, the 22nd of the month, at the Rosell Center for Healing in Fairfax. And Dr. Harlan Browning and I are going to do a night on your feet. But more importantly, we're going to talk about how the mechanical aspects of your feet affect your entire body. I'm going to talk about some of the biochemical pieces and things of that nature. So it's important that we understand that we could be ignoring all kinds of health problems if we don't pay attention to our feet. So we're going to cover those really, really carefully. We're going to send you home with all kinds of products. All you got to do to register is go to drtomrosell.com and register there, or go to rosellcare.com and register there. We'll make it happen. I promise you it's going to be a fun night. It'll be something that you're going to walk away with a lot of data, application, how to fix yourself, how to do the things that you need to get done ongoing. And it starts with your feet. It starts with a platform that holds you up. And, if you don't pay attention to that, you're in trouble. If you're listening to WMAL a few minutes ago, 105.9 FM, you heard me start talking about the infections of the feet. And so here's the deal, and I really want to drive this home. Your feet often are the first line that shows you that you have a health problem. And we want to make sure that you have the ability, the opportunity, if you will, to understand those pieces of the puzzle. So what are those pieces of the puzzle? Well, it's pretty straight up. You're looking at the platform that holds your body. It can be swollen if they're irritated. They can display all kinds of colors and configurations in different areas. They have little lines that'll show up in your toenails. The toenails can lift, they can fall off, they can crack. And it's left you with, why did that happen to me? Well, I'm here to tell you why it happens, and then this coming Wednesday evening, the 22nd of the month at 6 p.m. I'm really going to get into it. Dr. Browning's going to get into it. Listen, if you haven't heard this guy, he's a master. He's amazing of the things that he has between those ears. I watch him, I listen to him, I say, where did you come up with all this stuff? He said, well, don't you remember, blah, 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 blah. And he goes back and he cites some class that both of us were sitting in a long time ago. And, because he's focused on biochemical pieces, I'm focused on the organ systems and visceral pieces. It was kind of, different platform. But here's the deal. If you look at your foot and your toenail, right? You've got an ingrown big toenail and it's sore, it's touchy and so forth. What could that mean? Well, let me tell you something. That means that if it's swollen and it's red and it's a little spongy, you've got an infection of some sort. Doesn't necessarily tell you what it is, but you have an infection. So we have to find out how to deal with that, how to prevent it, number one. But number two, if it's there, we got to do something about it. And then if you squeeze it a little bit, you get a little oozing. It could be a little clear. It could be yellow. It could be green. The green's a bad thing. Now we're in a suppurative deep infection, and we better act pretty quickly. People who are diabetic are much more prone to all these things that we're talking about than other people are. How about warts? I touched upon that a little bit on the radio. A plantar's wart is at the bottom of your foot. It's just kind of embedded deep inside there, right? And it hurts. It's difficult to walk on. I'll tell you a story. Years ago, there was a patient that I was co-treating with another doctor, and this is way, way back in the day. And this guy had a plantar's wart right at the bottom of the foot. And it was big, and it was miserable, and it hurt badly. So he had to do something about it. And he had gone to the medical doctors, and first they froze it, and then they injected it, and the wart just kept getting bigger. It was ugly, it was awful, it was painful, and the pain was horrible. He was on all kinds of drugs. So he goes to see this friend of mine who is an amazing naturopathic physician, but he was also a doctor of Chinese medicine. And interestingly enough, that wart was right in the middle of the acupuncture channel for the kidney meridian. That's kidney 1 at the bottom of the foot, right about here on your foot, right? And so he said, we can do something. But the guy had already had part of his foot amputated. And what had happened is that wart moved to here. It just moved back past the amputation. So they took a couple of his toes and put in there. This is a true story, by the way. So what he did is he took moxa, this wormwood, and rolled it up about the size of a candy kiss. And he had a couple guys that he said, listen, this is not going to feel good. It's actually going to hurt. And he had somebody hold him face down. He was also a martial artist. And he burned 3 of them on this wart. What happened? The next morning, he woke up and there was this blob about the size of a worm, about 1.5 inches long, laying in the bed. This virus, this papilloma from the wart had gone into the acupuncture channel, and the heat brought it out. The moxa drew it out. So there's many ways of fixing things without, unfortunately, with this guy having lost part of his foot. And you know what they were going to do before that, before he went to see this guy? They were going to amputate it to his ankle because they didn't know else how to fix it. That's what they said. That was the medical approach. Amputation. We've got to take your foot. I don't know about you, but there's so many other things that can be done. But now you know that a viral pattern often invades different systems in the body. Arginine, very, very high levels of arginine will help make it worse. Make it worse. So you got to look at arginine foods. And if you're eating things like peanuts and peanut butter and things like that on a regular basis, that's high arginine. And it can make any virus in your body worse, but also it's going to make fungus worse. Why? Because peanuts, peanut butter are rhizoid. They are a mold. They're a fungus. They grow under the ground. They don't grow on top of the ground, on a tree, on a bush. No, they grow in the ground. So if you're going to treat something naturally, you got to clean up the terrain, the environment. That's called you. You got to clean you up. And your body begins to do what it's supposed to be doing. It does it naturally. It protects you from all this nonsense. Look, when you look at your feet, it's a tell sign of many things that are going on. And you get that infection in your toenails. You get the lifting of the toenails. That tells you got a systemic problem. It's not just there, it's throughout your whole body. But it's time to do something about it. And not just take this for that. You know, you go into the doctor's office today, as I've said many times, and they're sitting there with a computer and they put your symptoms, they push the button, they write a prescription, they say, here, take this, and let's see if it works for you. I don't know if it works for you, but try this doesn't work for me. I want to know how my body can fix it. I want to know what I can do to make a difference. How can I turn myself around? Are you committed to you? Are you committed to yourself to do what it takes to change this magnificent system? We talked a few minutes ago on WMAL, and we talked about the FDA finally banning red dye number 3. Well, they had already banned red dye number 40, because it had benzene in it years ago, and we know that's destructive. But red dye number 3 is a major carcinogenic. It causes autistic patterns. There's all kinds of problems with it. Why are they doing it? Suddenly they're saying, oh, we better take a look at these things. Could it be a guy by the name of, I said earlier, Bob Kennedy? I hope so. And the point of it is that, you know, you're starting to see why Europe will not import our foods. Now, let me tell you something about foot problems and the like. Do you think that if you stub your toe and your body's clean and you don't have huge amounts of sugar in it and your diabetic pattern is normalized and your teeth are clean, meaning you don't have an infection in it, do you think the chances of you developing an infectious process in your feet, in your toes, and so forth, affecting your entire body, is going to be exponential? Could it happen? Yes, but it's not going to be anything as more severe if you're diabetic because you're eating all kinds of crap. You're not getting any exercise. You're 40 pounds and 50 pounds and 60 pounds and 100 pounds of overweight and shouldn't be there. You get no exercise. The only exercise you get is a remote control. Guess what's suffering? It's your feet, those dogs that you got that are supposedly holding you up. You know, the swelling that you get around them could be cardiovascular. That swelling in your foot that you put your finger into and you leave a divot, leave a hole in it, that's called problem. And it could be your kidneys. It could be your heart. It also could be gout. Gout, the uric acid that gets into the joint space, all joint spaces, but particularly the ankle and the toes, are ripping and shredding the tissue. Yes, I said it the right way, ripping and shredding, because gout produces uric acid. They're little shards of glass, basically, that are going to tear things up. If that's the case, do you want to put up with that nonsense, the potentiality of it, or are you, because you're so stubborn, you don't want to change anything? I don't know about you, but this boy here, you know, I got a target date and it's over 100 years of age and living well and healthfully and trying to convince you that you need to do the same and continue improving the process ongoing. It starts with your feet. It starts with your feet. So take a look at those dogs. Pull your socks off. Take a look at them. And do they look like they should? Or are they swollen? Do they look like they should? Or there's discoloration? There's redness around the toes. There's a little tenting. It hurts to touch certain areas. Do you have that hammer toe where it goes in like my knuckle on the side? Does it kind of bend here? And it's sore to the touch and it's red and it hurts? What could that be? Could it be bad shoes? Yeah, maybe. Could it be that the arch dropped? Yep, maybe. Could it be the beginning stages of gout? Very maybe. So when you know all those things and it's irritated, it's inflamed, it's swollen, you go to the doc and they say, well, the only option that we have is that we're going to have to put an artificial joint in the place. Well, it also could be viral. Viruses love to live in cartilage. And then when you have an injury or your immune system breaks down and you can't fight it anymore, guess what takes place? That joint gets destroyed. Now it hurts even more. So now you couple that with blood sugar handling transport problems, maybe a predisposition to gout, with a fungus pattern that's in there, and you got that irritation, that rubbing, and the virus that's living there, you're going to lose the joint unless you do something mechanically to support it and change the biochemistry that's there. Wednesday night, the 22nd, this coming Wednesday night, 6 p.m. at the Roselle Center for Healing in Fairfax, we're going to get into this, and we're going to get into it very, very specifically. We're going to show you what to do about it. We're going to show you how to fix it. It's important. You have to get the tools. You have to be your own advocate. Remember my book, Ageless Health? Health is a do-it-yourself program. It truly is. It is in your hands. You have to become smarter than your doctors and ask the right questions. Because trust me, most of these guys are there to punch in, punch out, give you a prescription, and go home and play golf. Did I say that? Not all of them. There's some really magnificent people. And I'm talking about throughout all the professions, not just the medical people, which you know that I pick on, and the osteopaths and the podiatrists and the dentists and the chiropractors, all of them. There's a group of people that are really dedicated to you, and they want to teach you. They want to educate you. But make sure that they're not selling a product. They're not trying to get you to go online and be, buy this, buy that, buy the other thing. Become skeptical if they're a haberdasher, if you will. So what we're going to do is we have to make sure that you have all the information that you possibly need to help yourself. And if you look at your feet the right way, if you really get it, if you understand it, you can change virtually anything. Whether you've got bacterial infections, fungal infections, viral infections, they can first start and manifest if you know what you're looking for on your feet. If you have peeling feet, but they're red and swollen, it's a thyroid problem, but could be a thyroiditis, could be an autoimmune condition. If you have peeling feet, it could be fungus that's causing the issue. If you have swollen dogs, those toes, it could be a real problem. If you have an infected toenail, it could be beyond that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into it in specific. Join me, and I promise you I'll answer all your questions. And Dr. Brown is going to be talking about the structural components of what we do. I'm going to be talking about the biochemical pieces. We're going to join together, and it's going to be a fun night. And we're going to give you tons of data. The professor knows his stuff, and it's going to be a fun back and forth. He's one of the guys that I really, really enjoy lecturing with because he's just a fountain of information, and I follow him ongoing. So please make sure that you join us. All you have to do is go to drtomroselle.com or rosellecare.com and register for the class. But remember, if something comes up and you can't make it for whatever reason, please call us, early in the day, or call us, the night before, and let us know that you can't make it, because we want to make sure that we're prepared for you and we have all the data that we possibly need to make your life different. So let's move forward with this. Let's get our health together. Let's make 2025 the best possible year ever. And we can turn your life into a better place, optimizing your body's natural ability to heal yourself. I'll see you next week with a brand new program. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Remember, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. You deserve the information, but more importantly, I love you all. Have a great Sunday. Bye.